Wow, wow. What a game at the Emirates today. We just had to get on and give our reaction immediately.
I know, right? It's not often you see the reigning champions taken apart like that.
5-1 to Arsenal. Absolutely outclassed Man City. Big result. Throws a whole title race wide open. And I'm not going to lie, we might have gotten a little carried away watching that one.
I think we all did. From the first whistle, the energy was electric. Arsenal came out pressing high, forcing City into mistakes, and, well, it paid off almost right away.
2 minutes in, Odegaard picks up that error from Akanji, buries it.
Yeah.
1-0 to the Gunners before some fans had even sat down. Talk about a statement.
Yeah, and what's so interesting here is how Arsenal neutralized Haaland in that first half. He was practically invisible. You know, your sources suggest they used a high line and they double-teamed him aggressively anytime he got near the ball.
Which is exactly what you got to do against a player like him.
Yeah.
Can't give him an inch of space to breathe, let alone operate. It really disrupted City's rhythm. They just couldn't get him involved.
Yeah. But even with Haaland, Quiet City still had their chances. David Rea made some really key saves for Arsenal, especially that one to deny Gvardiol from the corner in the 23rd minute.
Oh, that save was unreal. Pure reflexes kept Arsenal in front when City were starting to build a little bit of momentum. And then, of course, there's the Havertz miss, the 27th minute. How did he not put that away?
He had the whole goal to aim at. It does make you think maybe he's still struggling with confidence after that move from Chelsea. Your sources mentioned a few times this season where he's looked, I don't know, hesitant in front of goal.
It's a shame because when he's on, he's such a dynamic player.
Uh,
But at least he did eventually manage to get on the score sheet later.
that's true. And speaking of getting on the score sheet, Haaland finally showed up early in the second half. Classic header to make it 1.
Yeah, but almost as soon as City equalized, it felt like they just self-destructed. Foden, with that loose pass, Partey's shot takes a deflection, puts Arsenal straight back in the lead.
That goal totally flipped the momentum. From that point on, it felt like Arsenal were in complete control. Kept the pressure on, and the goals just kept coming. Lewis-Skelly with a fantastic strike, Havertz finally bags one, and then Nwaneri puts the cherry on top in stoppage time. Each goal just seemed to drain City a little bit more.
Okay, hold on. We have to talk about Lewis-Skelly for a minute. The 18-year-old was unbelievable. Scoring a goal, absolutely bossing Haaland at times. He looked like he'd been playing at this level for years.
He really did. And that celebration after his goal, mimicking Haaland's meditation pose, I mean, come on. You have to admire the guts.
Oh, for sure. Especially when you remember their little spat back in September when Lewis-Skelly stood up to Haaland for getting in Gabriel's face. Some might call it disrespectful, but to me it's just a bit of fun, a bit of cheek. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Definitely adds a bit of spice to the story. And let's not forget, the kid's only 18. To have the confidence to pull that off in such a big game, it's amazing.
Yeah, says a lot about his mentality. Doesn't let the big occasion get to him. Yeah. Not intimidated by reputations. He just goes out there and plays. And speaking of big occasions, this win for Arsenal, it's huge for the title race.
No doubt about it. Liverpool's lead down to 6 points now, and Arsenal with a game in hand. They've shown they can beat anyone, and this win against City, massive confidence boost. They are absolutely contenders.
And for City, they looked a shadow of themselves, especially that second half. It's like that Partey goal just knocked the stuffing out of them.
It's funny you should say that because a few analysts in your sources actually point to that moment as the turning point. Maybe not just in the game, but in City's season as a whole. They've looked shaky recently, and maybe this defeat has exposed some deeper problems.
Yeah, they were making uncharacteristic errors, giving the ball away cheaply. Not the City we're used to.
And that lack of composure, you know, the hint of panic, almost like they've lost that aura of invincibility they've had for so long.
Yeah. And can we just talk about the Arsenal fans for a second? The atmosphere at the Emirates was incredible.
Oh, the noise, the passion. You could really feel the belief in the stands. They haven't seen a win like this against City for years. They were making the most of it.
They've stuck with their team through thick and thin, and now it's paying off. They've got a team they can be proud of, a team they can challenge for the title. And that feeling, that connection between the players and the fans, it's special.
Yeah, you're right. It was a special night for Arsenal. A real statement win, shook the whole Premier League.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, we got to talk about that final goal from Ethan Nwaneri. I mean, what a way to round off a brilliant performance from Arsenal.
That curling finish into the far corner, just pure class. The kid's 18, and he's already scoring goals like that in the Premier League. It's scary.
He's got the talent, the composure, the confidence, everything he needs to become a world-class player.
And who knows, maybe even a future Arsenal legend. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But that game, it had everything.
Hmm.
Drama, goals, controversy, and let's be honest, a bit of stay humble city energy.
I think you've summed it up perfectly. This game will be talked about for weeks, not just for the result, but for what it means.
A shift in power, a changing of the guard.
Maybe. It's certainly a message from Arsenal. They're here to stay and they're ready to fight for the big trophies.
It's going to be fascinating to see how the rest of the season plays out. I have a feeling we're in for a wild ride.
Buckle up. It's going to be epic.
I mean, this result just blows the title race wide open, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It's anyone's game now.
Oh, absolutely. A few weeks ago, it looked like Liverpool were going to run away with it. Now they've got Arsenal right there, and you can't even count City out just yet.
You can never write off a Pep team, but they've definitely got some thinking to do after this. They need to find that swagger again, that dominance, what made them champions. The City we saw today, well, they looked vulnerable, almost hesitant.
It's interesting you say that because there are a few analysts in your sources who are saying that this vulnerability might be because of their aging squad. Some of their key players are getting on a bit, and maybe, just maybe, that relentless pace of the Premier League is starting to take its toll.
Yeah, that's a good point. They haven't really brought in any big signings recently, have they?
Exactly. They haven't quite refreshed the squad in the same way that, say, Liverpool have. It'll be interesting to see if Pep goes into the transfer market in January to try and fix things.
Well, one thing's for sure, we're in for an exciting end to the season. I'm already looking forward to the next round of fixtures.
Me too. And after a result like this, who knows what's going to happen next? That's what makes the Premier League so great. You just never know.
Right, I think we've pretty much covered this game from every angle. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it?
It has. From that early Arsenal onslaught to Holland coming back into it to that Lewis-Skelly celebration, we've seen it all.
And a huge thank you to everyone for joining us for this instant reaction, deep dive into Arsenal's incredible victory over Manchester City. We really appreciate you being here with us.
We're trying our best to bring you the most interesting and up-to-date content. So if you liked what you heard today, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out a lot.
And make sure you join us next time for another deep dive into the world of football. We'll be back soon with more analysis, more insight, and as always, our passion for the beautiful game.